So last fall, seems like a long time ago, we began a journey here at BUC, a journey towards another part of the world that we started to learn a little bit more about. And that other part of the world was, of course, Syria. And we learned about the plight and the struggles of many Syrians in the midst of the civil war that's been raging there. And we saw graphic images of, remember the little boy who drowned as his family sought to escape from Syria, heading over to Greece. And that kind of really launched in the world an awareness of the extent of the tragedy that was taking place in that part of the world, and the numbers of people who were trying to escape totally life-threatening circumstances and to acquire a better life somewhere else. And so we began a trajectory, we began a journey, and we started a discussion about maybe it would be a good thing for us, along with many other partner churches and groups around Canada and around the world, to see if we could provide a home, if we could extend hospitality to a family that had found themselves in the midst of the crisis in Syria. And so we put the word out to all of you, and our community was just absolutely fabulous in terms of responding to the request and to the need. And part of that response was to establish a team of people who would sort of take on the process of organizing our community so that we could welcome a family in need from Syria to Canada and to Nova Scotia. And we had a number of people who stepped forward, and quite a few, and a number of you are here today, actually. And but I'm going to invite forward the person, and he had no idea when he said, "I'm going to see if I can do something in this process," that he would end up chairing the process. But I'm going to invite Richard Rhodes to come forward right at this point in time. And Richard is the chairperson of United for Refugee Families, which is the team of people that we put together. And he's going to introduce to us a very, very special guest this morning. I won't steal his thunder, but and we're going to extend some very warm hospitality to this fine fella here as well, and to his wife. But I'll let Richard do the introductions, and then I'll come back in a little bit and we'll chat some more. So, Richard.
Thanks very much, David, and we really appreciate the opportunity to come up this morning to talk to you, to give you a little bit about the history of what we're doing, what we're trying to achieve, and where we are, and to get a real-life perspective of what's going on. Because, as you know, you're introduced, Matt at the beginning introduced Baron, and his wife, Zaki, is right back there. Oh, Zaki? Thank you. And I want to just mention, too, that if you're interested, there is some, I don't know if it's called Kurdish cookies, but she made some Kurdish cookies there last night, brought a whole big plate of them for all of us. So please, I had a couple already, so I know they're excellent. But again, Dave, thanks very much for the opportunity here. And I want to also say the picture you did see of the family, you didn't see the baby, but that's happier times. That's not current times. That was a picture of their wedding, which was a few years ago, and that's not today. So believe me, their situation is quite different. Yeah. But as David said, our organization, we got together in December. He's quite truthful. I had no idea I was even going to get involved at all. I just showed up with my wife just to see what it was about, and I ended up volunteering to chair it. So with that in mind, though, we actually had 40 people that attended that meeting, which was fantastic, from 10 different United churches in the HRM area. Again, fantastic. From that, we've met about 3 or 4 times now as a committee or as a subcommittee, and we've formed, we've got 8 different subcommittees under that steering committee. So we have to cover off areas like accommodation, finance, fundraising, communications, medical. Essentially, we have to be prepared to help the family for an entire year, which we are. But that takes people, which we've gotten volunteers. The second thing it needs is money, And I wanted to send a big thank you to all of you for helping us to raise. We've raised over $26,000 so far, which is fantastic. And we got a little ways to go. Angie is basically working on, we've got some fundraising things happening. If you look at our website, you look at the BUC site, there's an ongoing stream of things that they're auctioning off. We've got some plans to do like a Kurdish night in the future. And we want to have about $30,000 to adequately have enough money for the family to take care of them for the entire year. So that's our goal. So please look at the sites and continue to help us out as we go forward. We've got some great volunteers that are really dedicated to this too. And I won't mention them all, but those that are here, I can see Stephen. But thank you very much for volunteering and participating in that. We can't do it without you. And just to let you know where we are is all the paperwork, and there's a lot of it, has been submitted through to, we have an organization, the United Church, so that has to go through to them. Then from the United Church, it goes up to the Immigration Department in Winnipeg. They review it, and then they send it off to an embassy over in Turkey. And Baron's got some news on that. So what happens then is we followed the PSR route, the private sponsorship route. There's different routes you could have gone. We could have gone half government and half us. We decided we had enough money and enough volunteers to go the private route. That's what we did. And back then, January, the process was happening really fast, as you know. What's happened is like the big brick walls come down, and they've pulled the people processing the applications out. They've closed embassies. They've slowed the whole thing down. So now there's been pressure, I guess, on the government. They've sped it up a bit. So, so as it stands right now, we've done everything we can to bring them over. We're prepared for them too when they arrive, except we don't know when they're going to arrive. So again, if anybody's impatient, please be patient, because we don't know when they're going to arrive. But we're confident they will, and when they do, we're going to take care of them. Now, right here, Baron is their uncle, and I don't even know how I even found out about you, but anyways, he's come to our last meeting. Him and his wife were great, and they were sharing stories with us. He's our official interpreter, and we've invited him up this morning to say a few words about our family, I'll say our family, and what's happening. So, Baron, thank you very much, too, for coming out this morning.
Thank you for inviting me. Good morning. My name is Baran, as told you, and I have other names. Official name is Omar Aliso, so I don't want to go to that story anyway. So we came here in 1995 as a refugee also, because myself, I spent 10 years in jail politically back home in Syria. And after I got released in 92, I just escaped, and me and my wife and a couple kids that time. We came through Turkey. Hopefully we arrived here in 1995. Since that time, I'm here in Halifax. I never live in another city. I love Halifax. It's a great city. So I don't know if I'm gonna just talk a little bit what's going on in Syria nowadays. Maybe some of you interesting. Last week I was in an event also. United Church invited me to a Syrian night in Mahon Bay. It was a great night. Like also, that church in Mahon Bay sponsored one of my nephews also. I have a lot of them. So everybody, uncle, do this and do this. We trying to help that young family with a little kid, and they got stuck in Turkey. Like my family, or most of Kurdish, we are Kurds from North Syria. They ran away from war in Syria, but nowadays they got stuck in other war in Turkey too. There's quite a severe conflict between Kurds and Turkish government there. So, like Jagar was in the city was seized or sieged for over 15, 20 days. So they cannot get out, even no communication, no nothing, and it's like same like war in Syria. Yeah, that's why. But the good news, yesterday, the day before yesterday, I think they got a letter from the embassy for interview, which is that mean the process is getting faster now, because I think Canadian government aware about what's going on in southeast of Turkey, well, which we call it Kurdistan region. So hopefully they're gonna be here maybe next month, because after the interview, the medical and things goes faster. I think maybe a couple months or next month we will see them around here. I don't know if I'm gonna say something about Syria, like in general, what's going on, and because many times, like I have friends of Canadian friends, they think like these wars or the conflicts a part of this is the fundamental fanatic Islamic groups is a part of that area's religion, and that's why they've been killing each other long. That's the wrong stereotype about that. The conflict's more than that. It's not a civilian war, what they call a civil war between communities. It started like Syrian people, they were under this kind of dictatorship for 45 years. They fed up people like me and others. We stand up politically and underground and try to raise, to cheer people to come on the point like we can ask this regime, like with millions of people hit the street, enough is enough. But hopefully they start in 2010 spring, and slowly people cheering to get rid of the regime, like in a civil way. There was no single weapon in Syrian hands, and the people, like, it was uprising for freedom and dignity and the state of law. So on the regime from the day first, like destroying the people, killing the demonstration with the live weapons. So it's continued the things 1 year, the result, people hitting street and the regime and his security killing with a live weapon. International communities also didn't do anything. Like American once a month say, oh, regime Assad has to go. How? Europe, same thing. No, but slowly the regime opened the door for terrorist groups to come in, because his excuse, he fighting terrorists, but there was no terrorists. So the best things bring the terrorists. There were allowed a bunch of terrorist leaders in the jail. In Syria also, he released them. So it's dirty politics locally, regionally. Also the regional groups like Turkey, Iran intervened, and a lot of other power, American and nowadays Russia. So nowadays war is not just like, look like a civil war, people fighting each other, no. Honestly, the reality of the war now, war on Syria, not in Syria. And the Syrian people has no clue to stop the war or to start the war. They just, like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, especially toward the Kurd, they fighting the Kurd in general first, and also they killing, destroying whatever city they get in. The regime bombed the city, bombed the people by a barrel bomb, like it's not like a garbage barrel. They fill it for dynamite, drop it by the helicopter on the building if they said there's opposition group there. So all the building, so it's kind of war is very dirty. Like you don't know what's gonna happen. It doesn't matter if you're with the regime or against the regime or with the ISIS or against the ISIS. It's all messed up wars. And still, till now, the international community just looking what's going on, because Turkey has a group fighting on their behalf, Russia has a group, Iran has a group, American has a group, and we're just Syrian people get killed. I don't want to like keep continuing in these things, but anyway, it's that's the things. I hope like my family and Jagar and Dalal will be here soon, and me and they are lucky to have a community like you guys supporting and spreading love instead of that hate they are being but there, like honestly what it's just what you guys doing is it's I cannot even find a right word toward it. It's just a great things. It's a full human sense, and your church is really expressing is that it's house of God. So God bless you. God bless Canada. Thank you very much. Good in the mic.
So, Laurent, thank you very much for that, and we're here for you. I think we all want to be part of this, and so the way you guys can still be part of it is in the future. We're always looking for volunteers once the family arrives. We support them for an entire year, but our job really is to empower them to become successful Canadians. Empower them so they can go on their own, get their driver's licenses, get jobs and so on, and go right into society nice and clearly. So that's really our role. But you can also support by just looking at our Facebook site, looking at the BUC site. We'll try to provide information in the bulletins occasionally. We don't want to overwhelm you, just to update you on what's happening. But I do know, as I say, when anything's government related, it takes time, so this is going to still be a few months process, but we're well on our way. So on behalf of the steering group and the committee, thank you, everybody, for all your support and hopefully continued support. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Baran and Zaki, it's a gift having you here today. Baran has been driving taxi. He knows about Canadian weather with Zaki now for, you know what it's all about. You should leave a card, because I'm sure anyone who needs a taxi driver would love to. We could have more stories with you as we go forward. Limos, gotcha. Your airport limo is awesome. As we move forward, I was going to talk a little bit about the whole nature of hospitality in the Christian tradition, but I won't go. You've heard from Monica earlier that hospitality is a key. It's a key value within the Christian tradition, and you see it both in the Old Testament tradition. You see it in the New Testament tradition. Jesus says, when you visit someone who's sick, when you feed someone, when you clothe someone. when you give a drink to someone, when you open your doors to the stranger, whatever you do for someone else, you do for me, right? There's that sense. And our sense of spirituality is that we're not just all part of God's family. Whatever religious tradition you come from, here in this church, Baran and Zaki, we believe we all belong to one God, right? There's just one God for us all. It doesn't matter what religious tradition or background you're from, and that we also believe we're all expressions of that one life of God. So none of us is strangers to one another. And so I say to Baran and Zaki, you're not strangers in our midst. You're part of the family of God, and you belong here, and we look forward to welcoming your family to be part of our family as well. And what we look forward to is the next time you're with us in our family. Oh, you can come anytime you like, but the next time you are in our family, that you'll have a larger part of your family, and Jigar and Dalal and their child will be with us well. So thank you so much. We have a special gift of music, I think, to pick up on this theme at the moment, and I'll invite Spirit Rising.
Wherever you may go, I will follow, and your people shall be my people too. Wherever you may go, I will follow. I would be faithful, Lord, loyal and true. Say the word and I will stay. I will never go away. We will travel side by side, and God's love will be our guide. Wherever you may go, I will follow, and your people shall be my people too. Wherever you may go, I will follow, for I would be faithful, loyal and true. From beginning to the end, I will always be your friend. When you need me, I'll be there. You can trust my faithful care. Wherever you may go, I will follow, and your people shall be my people too. Wherever you may go, I will follow, for I would be faithful, loyal and true. Wherever you may go, I will follow, and your people shall be my people too. Wherever you may go, I will follow, for I would be faithful, loyal and true. For I would be faithful, loyal and true.
That song is taken from the book of Ruth in the Hebrew scriptures, where you have two people from two totally different cultures and backgrounds who support one another and who share the life journey together. Thank you so much. It was beautiful. So we come to a point in the life of our community each year when it's time to install and appoint our new council. And as you know, we've shifted to a somewhat different council structure over the last couple of years. But we still have this process every year in which we formally install your leadership team for the year ahead. So I'm going to invite our past chairperson of the council and our upcoming chairperson of the council, Val Welsh and Daryl Johnson, to come forward at this time. And okay, you two, take it over.
Yesterday, David said, "So, okay, we're going to do this council installation. How are we going to?" And Daryl and I said, "David, just leave it to us. It's all good." So, as you'll recall, we had our AGM a few weeks ago, and as a result of that nominations process, and after thankfully volunteering a couple of years ago, Daryl has now moved into the role of chairperson of our church council, and this is the formal installation. But in fact, he's been in place for 5 or 6 weeks now. And I've had a fortunate opportunity to work with Daryl for the past couple of years on council, and he's an incredibly committed individual, insightful. He has a good vision. He can see the way forward. He comes from a strong corporate background and also a lot of other volunteer activities. And so Daryl brings a wealth of experience to us as he takes on this leadership role. But he's also not afraid to roll up his sleeves and get the work done. So we've had lots of examples over the years of Daryl doing exactly that and rolling up his sleeves and getting the work done. So he's been involved at BUC for about 20 years and has had many, many roles over that time. So we can be confident as Daryl moves into this chairperson's role that his leadership will be felt and it will be strong, and we're very thankful for that. So I have a question to put to Daryl. Dear Daryl, as you assume the mantle of leadership amongst us this day, do you covenant with this congregation and with the wider United Church of Canada to keep before you constantly the example of Jesus, our brother and spiritual friend, and to serve our church with integrity, courage, vision, and a constant openness to the Spirit of God? If so, please say, "I do."
I do.
Excellent. And I do. And now that he has said formally yes, I do have a couple of little gifts to give Daryl just to help him along the way. So bear with me one moment. So this is a calendar of events for Daryl. The tape is here, so we can put it up there. You can see it, yeah. This is a calendar of events for Daryl to help him keep track of all the things. And this nowhere near represents all the things that go on at BUC, but especially you need to keep track of the special events because they just come up all of a sudden. Oh my goodness, where is he? So you'll need to be aware of those. And I hope you've warned Nancy and your colleagues that, you know, this is a commitment that takes a bit of time, so they should not expect you to be reliable or present for them for a couple of years. And the little key here, that's just representative, because you drive up thinking, okay, everything's all organized, and just have to go in and have this quick discussion. There's 10 people standing outside the parking lot. Do you have a key? So make sure you get a real key. So that's little treasure number one. Little treasure number two is, oh, it comes in pieces. Oh, here's the second part of it after you open that. So this is a gavel. The gavel was given to me by Debbie Pride several years ago when I assumed the role as council chair, and that is to keep this raucous council in line, because they really can be quite unpredictable. And rarely, when you think, okay, we're going to do this, and this is the path I have chosen, so that's how the discussion's going to go, yeah, forget it. So that's what the gavel is for. And number 3 is this one, the red one.
Oh, it's soft.
So you open that up. That is a teddy bear. And the teddy bear represents the unending support that you will receive from the members of the congregation and the rest of council. It is an incredibly giving and forgiving group of people. And if you welcome their ideas and their opinions from the widest audience that you can, you will find the best way forward, and we will move into wonderful opportunities. So on behalf of the congregation, please accept our sincere thanks and deep appreciation for taking on the role.
Wow. Was it too late? When David and Val first asked me about being nominated for vice chair at that time and would eventually be chair, my inside voice went, no! You're too busy. It's too much to do. You don't have the skill set. And my outside voice said, yeah, sure. I worried about meeting the time commitment. I've got a 15-year-old daughter. I'm involved in other charities. I travel and all these other things. I worried about the politics of being in such a volunteer organization, and just purely to be able to maintain the level of diligence that Val has demonstrated over the past number of years. I mean, she was thrust into this role long before she planned, with the tragic loss of our Keith Thompson. She had to manage the church during David's year-long absence, and she ushered in a new constitution and a new structure for council. So how could I follow an act like that? And then I reminded myself that giving back is not always convenient. Being part of this church has made me a better person, a more spiritual person. I've met so many good people in this church, and they've enriched my life and that of my family. And like Val's put into so much into building this foundation, I want to climb on top of that and bring my own life experiences into the role. And you're well aware, we talked about the roof campaign, but it really reminds me today when we talk about our Syrian family. If you've seen the drone footage of the Syrian villages, it almost seems like an old ruin, but it's today's city. And when I look at the picture of the family in normal times, that could have been any of us. And then our roof and our world is blown away. So in the roof campaign, we really need your support to give us the shelter so we can continue and free the debt so we can do good things in this church. Now last week, when David told me about the BOGO for the roof campaign, if you give $1,000, you get a free urn for your burial, I was like, oh. I was like really uncomfortable. I mean, what are people going to think? And for $1,500, you get 2 free urns. Oh my gosh. But you know, 3 people stepped up and said, I'm in and I'm going to be one of them. And I started doing the math. I get a tax deduction. I get a $300 gift for free. Actually, I can make money off and contribute to this roof. But in truth, it really reminded me that sometimes we need to experience discomfort to expand our minds and our church and to continue contemplative thought. And the occasional shopping channel shtick. And by the way, if you do today, we get a free prayer shawl. Yesterday, your council and members of the congregation spent a few hours together to begin a visioning process of where we want to be. We know that we want to be fresh, we want to be relevant, and we want to be meaningful to our church community and to the greater world as our contribution. My hope is to help steer some of this growth and the rejuvenation and our purpose without damaging what really makes us special here at Bedford United Church. And when we did the survey for the JNAC, and we had 120-some surveys came in, what was most heartfelt for me was to read the comments, and almost exclusively they cherished Bedford United Church. And people, when they fill surveys, typically have a critical mind when they're doing that, and I was really recognize how blessed we are. We are blessed with an incredible council. I've worked in the council for the last couple of years. Steve McDonald and his family lit the Christ candle today, but it just, when he stepped up, he's been working on the nut awareness policy for the past 6 months. And the level of professionalism and that is put into that is like it's been his job. And we are full of volunteers in this congregation that really add to that. Now, if you haven't raised your hand to volunteer at Bedford United Church, you're really missing the secret of volunteerism, is that you get more than you give. It may almost, like I say, not be convenient, but you get to meet and work with some of the people that I've worked in the council in the last couple of years, and then I would now like to introduce the new members of the council and have them step forward. We're not all here today, the weather has brought things a little bit down, but so if I could vote the new council members to come forward, and then David, you take them from here. So thank you to all of you, and I'll do my very best work, as my daughter says.
So who are our new members on council? Nick and Ann, Debbie Pride, Len, okay. Is there anyone we're missing here this morning? I think not. Okay. So now, you wonderful new members of council. Ann Bedard is the new chairperson of your Ministry and Personnel Committee. Brings wonderful experience to that role from work in government and in those kinds of systems over the years. Nick is just a communications whiz, and we discovered what a fabulous process facilitator he is yesterday at a wonderful meeting that we had. Monica brings just as a member at large, and Debbie as members at large to bring this wonderful background of church experience, and Monica's from some wonderful experience in the United States in a church background as well, which is just fabulous. And Len here's married to one of us, and he just knows about that key and just having to do whatever needs to be done whenever, why ever, because it just happens to happen. So I put this question to all of you. Do you promise to take on this role of guiding and nurturing the vision of this community of faith and supporting your new leader, Daryl, with a deep sense of commitment, with a deep sense of vision, and with the deep faith that I know you all possess? If so, please say, we commit to being the leaders God calls us to be in this year ahead. We commit to being the leaders God calls us to be in the year ahead, please.
We commit to being the leaders God calls us to be in the year ahead.
All right. Let's all stand. And you know what we do here at BUC when we baptize somebody? We just lift our hands in the air, all right? So let's lift our hands in the air and invoke the presence of the Spirit upon these people. Wonderful God, we just say thank you so much for your Spirit alive in each of these people, shining within them, inspiring them to serve you and to serve this world and to serve our community, to make it a little bit more so the realm that Jesus demonstrated to us is possible. Bless Daryl and bless this whole team in the year ahead, and may they be a source of wonderful grace and examples of your light and wisdom and courage in our midst this day and in the days to come. In the name of our brother Jesus we pray. Amen.